city of Porto in northern Portugal took its name from its location on the shore. Porto is Portuguese for port. As early as the 13th century, this was already an important trading center. The medieval alleyways run down the hills to the Douro River. Porto is, in fact, one of the oldest cities in Europe. Its old town is a UNESCO World Heritage Site and a huge tourist magnet.
The city simply has charm, the tiny alleys, the colors, and the history of this city as reflected in the architecture.
You feel as if you were in a different century.
It's kind of old worldly, but kind of has a bit of that modern side as well. It's just really pretty.
São Bento train station was built in the early 20th century. It's considered one of the most beautiful of its kind in the world. Portuguese artist Jorge Colasso decorated the reception hall with azulejos, the traditional glaze-painted tiles. These here show scenes from the history of the city and the country, each in the style of the time depicted. It's ornamentation from a range of centuries.
He left us traces of various eras, styles and techniques. It's remarkable work.
The modern face of Porto. The new concert hall, designed by world-renowned Dutch architect Rem Koolhaas, opened in 2005. The museum of the Sivadas Foundation was designed by Álvaro Siza Vieira, a native of Porto and one of the country's best-known architects. It's Portugal's highest-profile museum for contemporary art and fits in perfectly with Porto's lively art scene.
We try to be open to new artists. We're not interested solely in established artists, but also in young ones just starting out. We give them the opportunity to exhibit in a major museum like ours.
For more than 300 years, Porto has been famous for the wine bearing its name, port. Port wine is made by interrupting fermentation to add brandy, and then aging the mixture for years in wooden barrels. Wine cellars are open for visitors to test the many varieties. The traditional sweet dessert wine is still one of Portugal's major exports.
This port is the variety called tawny. That means it spent many, many years aging in oak. The wine, made from red grapes, has changed its color and taken on the flavor of the wood. The resulting taste is reminiscent of almonds and nuts. This special variety of port wine, tawny, is 10 years old and of very high quality.
Behind a neo-Gothic facade is one of Porto's main tourist attractions, the Lellow Bookstore, sometimes called the Cathedral of Books. The lavish Art Nouveau interior is reason enough for many visitors to come here. It's one of Europe's most beautiful bookstores. It stocks books from around the globe, but it's a small, personal world when it comes to customer care. The boss himself mans the cash register.
More than 80% of the people who enter the store buy something. That's a lot better for us than if we were a museum. We want to be a vibrant bookshop, traditional and with charm, like a beautiful lady with great spirit and intellect.
Porto also has a long cafe tradition. Its most famous establishment is the Majestic, which has been faithfully restored to look like it did after it opened in 1921. Back then, the Majestic was a popular haunt among the city's high society, artists, and intellectuals.
Everyone used to meet here. Journalists, singers, writers.
It has retained its characteristic flair. Everything's just like it used to be.
From across the river, Porto has the charm of a sleepy vacation resort, but it really has the hustle and bustle that go along with being Portugal's second largest city.